you first get there, you're the new dude, all the girls like you, the dudes start hating you because of that. I think Boy Meets World really messed my head up around like middle school because getting uprooted, like, let me stay home because the truth of the matter is I don't know my people.
I am an island warrior. Don't you forget, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so my experience as being a military kid or a military brat, hmm, it was interesting. I say it's bittersweet. It's pro and con, definitely. You know, I've always, due to the fact of, I've always longed for like a certain stability in my surroundings to where I could plant my feet and grow with people and develop those lifelong stories. I think Boy Meets World really messed my head up around like middle school because, you know, the character in the show had the longtime girlfriend, teacher was the neighbor. There was like a longevity to the story where people could actually grow and develop with each other, and you had those certain bonds. Because as a military child, as one would know and assume or could assume, it's like depending on how often your parent is getting restationed and deployed, you just got to get up and go. So spent like 7, 8 years in Oklahoma, and that was the first experience because when I moved from South Carolina to Florida, I really don't remember. It was just like I remember being in Florida. I remember a little bit of being here in South Carolina. Oklahoma was like when 4 years old, 3 years old, the memory started to actually stick. So up until 10, 11, I had been there, and I had you know on the base, it's the same with everybody. So people, it may not be you moving, it may be your friend moving or whatever. So I've experienced it from your friend moving, but we were in one spot for a good little bit of time. So going from elementary school to middle school, when we went to Maryland, I remember like, oh man, like the only thing he really said is, I remember we stopped and got something to eat when we got there. And this what he was like, hey, you gotta be careful out here now. You mess around, say the wrong thing, you come home with no clothes on. And we just laughed like that. And that was it. But we had gone from going to school on a military base to like first taste of public schooling, and that was in the DMV. Glass man. What was it? No, my mama taught at Glass man. What was that first school called? I can't remember what the first school was called. Because I did have to finish a little bit of fifth grade, like the very end, at another elementary school. But I remember Stephen Decatur. That's why I went to middle school at. And it was I don't know what you would call it. It was what it was. It was a culture shock, definitely, from going to a mixed crowd of kids to like all your people, and like this is all your people. So it was, I don't know if it was a hood school, but let's just say like it was a culture shock. So I remember, especially since nobody know you, they want to try you and all of that. It was an ebb and flow like everywhere, you know. Like you first get there, you're the new dude, all the girls like you, the dudes start hating you because of that. And then all the girls eventually end up not liking you because I was really like at that time, I was really like, ain't no point. And I had a girlfriend in Oklahoma and felt that little heartbreak of leaving or whatever. So I was like, ain't no point in me really getting, I was chilling, honestly. So you flirt with them a little bit, but when you don't commit to neither one of them, then they start not liking you. So then the whole school year was kind of cold until like the end when the sun started coming back up. And then it was all back on you again. But then by the time I would catch my footing and have my friends, shout out Willard, Quan, all of them, Rock, we had to move again. Um, so that's when I kind of petitioned my parents to just let me stay home, man. Like I was tired of just moving. getting uprooted. Like, let me stay home because the truth of the matter is I don't know my people. I've always been very proud of where I come from and my people, the heritage. I've always longed to be here. Sometimes, when I hear my peers, my homies talk about things like little league football and how that culture used to be, I missed all of that. I would ask them all the time, so what team would I have been on, I think I would have been a Hurricane. But just stuff like that, I would have definitely wished to be a part of that. But I can't discredit all of the things that I did experience while, being out there. I got different perspectives from different people, had to compete with different races, understand the games that they like to play. So I have a dual citizenship. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I know I'm balanced. I may not fit in any one place, but I can deal with all people because of it. So I take that as a fortune. Um, and there's a contradiction going on personally. I'm trying to sort it out of whether, because remember I told you the longing to want to be someplace. I'm starting to question if that's how I was really supposed to do it, because life was telling me every 4 years you make a drastic change, go somewhere. But nah, it's not really that big of a question because I kind of feel like the source is intelligent enough to have you experience that just so you can have a different mindset to come back and do these works. That's how I like to think things have happened. So the course was set for you to want to feel like you want to stay here. Whereas my peers who have grown up here, and I can't fault them. They've grown up here all their life. They want to see something different. I used to get frustrated, like, man, y'all moving and they doing this stuff, but then I had to really think about it, like, they don't even see it from that perspective. They see it from like, yo, I've been here all my life. I want to see the world. Yeah, phone that ran out of memory. So like, what's sad about it is, and I think that they may agree with me, but you could travel all around this country. There was no place greater than what we had. And it's hard to be angry either way because you understand, like, I understand that I had the experience in reverse. That's why I'm able to be like, I'm home now and just be here for a while. I feel like I'm on a mission. Whole life has been a mission. Whole life has been on a military base. Whole life has been like being raised in a boot camp. Like, and I think there was a struggle for balance because I did have a period of time where I was just in relation, like kind of running wild, you know. But you teach a child a way and no return. It's bittersweet because while I would have liked to really have been in the mix with my people and really, because a lot of time your people still treat you like an outsider because they don't know you. They know all your family now, but you never get close enough to them really to even have that conversation about who you are and where you've been. So even when I got home, it was kind of like I wasn't expecting this, but just my wild imagination. Even when I got home, you had people that want to try to test you and all type of stuff because you move a little different, I sound a little different. But I'm like, I didn't expect this, like, you know what I mean? And don't get it twisted. There's a lot of good people, more good people than there are bad, but the mentality early on, I really didn't understand. You know, I didn't expect family to really not stick together in certain situations for your friends or to really be just around you. Man, it's not to talk about the negative, but there were certain things I had to adapt to too. Um, Coming back home, whereas I thought that again, growing up and watching how my ancestors did things, I thought that just and it kind of was. It was like that. You had your normal high school drama. We're all young kids, so I'm tripping. It was cool. It was cool, but there's a lot that you miss out on, and there's a lot of advantages that if you so choose to look at them as advantages. I don't think I can be boxed in, and I'm not saying it's fair to do that to the Geechee, the Gullah people, but even on record, like I don't really sound like how you would expect a Geechee accent to sound. So you can't really box me in. I have different perspectives, different influences that I balance with who I am. I never forget who I am and what blood flows through my veins. But being exposed to different cultures and how people do things, and at the very least, you sharpen like who you are and what you stand for. So that's a pro. Um, yeah, yeah. Are any of y'all military kids? Or did you just move around a lot? I'm interested in knowing, like, how did y'all look at not being in one place for very long? Does it still affect you to this day? Do you have like connection issues? Maybe that's why I'm like always so open and trying to work with people, because really it just stems from a desire to connect with my people. You know, some people take that for a weakness, but if they do, it only ends up strengthening me. So I don't worry about it. But yeah, y'all let me know y'all perspective from this. And from those who may have grown up a place all their life, and how do y'all look at people coming back? How do y'all feel about trying to get away from this place now? You know? It's all a lot to unpack with this topic. So again, leave some comments, send me some emails. If you got my number, hit me up directly.
My every battle's won and the table said it's true. Yeah, it's true. Oh, oh, yeah.